Tonight, I've got 3 terrifying stories that will chill you to the bone. These are not your average ghost tales. These are the kind of stories that make you double-check your locks and question every shadow in the corner of your room. If you're into true horror and the kind of suspense that keeps you up at night, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more creepy content every week. Now turn off the lights and let's begin. When I moved into the old apartment on Ashcroft Street, I didn't expect much. It was cheap, small, and smelled faintly of mildew, but it was mine. After years of living with roommates, finally having my own space felt like freedom. If only I'd known what came with it. The first night was uneventful. I unpacked, ordered pizza, and fell asleep watching a horror movie. Ironic now that I think about it. The second night, however, is when things started to unravel. Around 2:13 a.m., I woke to a soft scratching noise. At first, I thought it was just rats in the walls. It's an old building, and I wasn't naive. But then came a voice, faint, whispery, barely audible. I froze. Help me. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. I waited, breath held, but nothing else came. Just silence. Eventually, I convinced myself it had been a dream. Maybe I'd fallen asleep with the TV on. I laughed nervously and went back to sleep. The next few nights were quiet. I almost forgot about the whisper until it came back. This time louder. Please, can you hear me? It was definitely coming from the wall next to my bed. I pressed my ear against the cold plaster and listened. Don't leave me here. The voice was desperate. A woman's voice, weak and trembling. My skin crawled. I jumped out of bed and turned on all the lights. I knocked on the wall. Hello? Who's there? No answer. The next morning, I asked the building manager about the unit next to mine. He looked confused. There's no unit on the other side. That wall borders the sealed maintenance shaft. Hasn't been used in decades. That was impossible. I heard someone. I spoke to someone. I pressed him for more info, but he just shrugged and said, "Old buildings make weird noises. You'll get used to it." I didn't. The whispers came more frequently. Every night, always at 2:13 a.m. She begged. She sobbed. Sometimes she screamed. Blood-curdling, bone-shaking screams that made my stomach churn. I recorded them. Played them back. Nothing. Dead silence on the tapes. I stopped sleeping. I started researching the building, digging into old archives and forums. That's when I found the Reddit thread. Anyone ever lived at 417 Ashcroft? The post read. Weird shit happened in apartment 3A. Heard voices in the walls. Thought I was going crazy. My apartment. The thread was full of similar stories. Voices. Whispers. Nightmares. One commenter claimed the building was once a psychiatric facility before being converted into apartments. Room 3A used to be a patient isolation room. According to urban legend, a woman named Evelyn Marlowe was locked in for weeks, maybe months. She suffered from hallucinations, screamed all night. The staff eventually stopped checking on her. One night, she vanished. They assumed she escaped, but some whispered she never left. That they bricked her in. I didn't believe in ghosts. I still don't, not really. But I started talking to her. Evelyn? Is that your name? Yes. Why are you here? They forgot me, left me in the dark, so cold, so alone. What do you want from me? Help me leave, set me free, please. I didn't know what she meant. How could I help a ghost? But I couldn't ignore her. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think. She was always there, whispering, sobbing, pleading. So I did the only thing that made sense. I broke through the wall. I waited until 2 a.m., hammer in hand, heart pounding. I smashed the plaster where her voice was strongest. Dust choked the air. Beneath the drywall, I found crumbling brick. Old. Rotten. Like it had been there for 100 years. I kept going, smashing until I exposed a narrow space, just wide enough for a person to crawl through. A rush of cold air hit my face. Inside, it was pitch black. I shone my flashlight and saw something that still haunts me. A small, windowless chamber. Metal bed frame rusted to the floor. Chains. Scratches on the walls, hundreds of scratches. Like fingernails clawing in desperation. And in the corner, bones. Human bones. Curled in a fetal position, crumbling beneath time. A faded name tag lay beside them. E. Marlowe. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. I stumbled back into my apartment and called the police. The body was removed. The chamber was sealed again. But that night, she thanked me. You found me, thank you. I can sleep now. That was the last I heard her. The whispers stopped. The cold left. I started sleeping again. But sometimes when the apartment is quiet, when the clock reads exactly 2:13 a.m., I swear I feel something brush my ear, and I wonder if she's really gone, or if I just opened the door for something worse. I never believed in the supernatural. Ghost stories, possessions, cursed mirrors. I thought it was all just fiction. Until last winter, when I found the mirror in the abandoned house on Milburn Road. I'm a freelance photographer. I explore old buildings, take eerie photos, and sell them to horror blogs and magazines. That's how I ended up in that rotting Victorian home deep in the woods. No address, no driveway, just a half-collapsed structure swallowed by ivy and silence. Inside, everything was decaying. Floorboards sagged under my feet. Wallpaper peeled like dead skin. I wandered from room to room, snapping shots of shattered chandeliers and rusted bed frames, until I reached the second-floor hallway. That's where I saw it. A tall, antique mirror leaned against the wall. It was cracked at the corner, but otherwise intact. The frame was ornate, covered in strange carvings, symbols I didn't recognize. It looked out of place, almost untouched by time. I lifted my camera and took a photo. The flash lit the hallway for a split second, and then the reflection blinked. I froze. My hand trembled. I looked at the mirror again. My reflection stared back, but it didn't move when I did. I raised my arm. My reflection smiled. I didn't. Chills ran down my spine. I took a slow step back. My reflection stayed still for a moment, then copied me with a slight delay, as if it was mocking me. I left. I packed up and got the hell out of that house. But I made one mistake. I took the mirror with me. It sounds insane, I know, but I thought it was valuable, maybe even haunted, which would make it a great centerpiece for my next photo series. I brought it home and set it up in my office. That night, I dreamed of standing in front of the mirror, unable to move. My reflection was smiling, eyes wide, hands twitching. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. Behind me, something watched from the dark. When I woke up, the mirror had fogged over. I hadn't touched it. Things got worse. My reflection began acting on its own. At first, it was subtle, an extra blink, a delayed movement. But after a few nights, I watched it grin when I was crying. Saw it whisper things I couldn't hear. Sometimes it was gone entirely. Just an empty room behind the glass. I covered the mirror with a blanket. But that didn't stop it. I started seeing glimpses in other reflections, in windows, in puddles, in the black screen of my TV. Always that same smiling face. Always watching. I tried throwing it out, drove miles out of town, and left it in a dumpster. But when I got home, it was there, standing in the hallway like it had never left. I called a priest. He came reluctantly and performed some kind of cleansing ritual. He stayed silent the entire time, his face pale. When he finished, he told me something I'll never forget. That's not a ghost. It's a doorway. A doorway to what? I asked. He didn't answer. He just left, muttering a prayer under his breath. That night, the mirror cracked. Not just a small fracture, deep, jagged lines split across the glass like veins. And from the cracks, something looked out. It wasn't me. It had my face, but its eyes were too black, too wide. It pressed its hands against the inside of the mirror and mouthed 3 words. "Let me out." I smashed the mirror with a hammer. Over and over. Shards exploded across the room. But even then, I saw my reflection in every piece. Hundreds of them, all grinning. It's been 3 months. I threw every shard into the river, moved to another city, started over. But sometimes I catch glimpses. In the bathroom mirror. In my phone screen. A face that smiles when I don't. Last week, I woke up to find writing on my bedroom mirror. "You broke the mirror, but not the connection." Now every reflection makes me hesitate. Every time I pass a mirror, I have to look. Because one day, I know I'll see it again. And next time, it might be on this side. When I moved into apartment 2B, the landlord gave me one warning. No explanation. No small talk. Just this. Whatever you hear at night, don't feed it. I laughed, thinking it was some kind of weird joke. The place was dirt cheap, and I'd already been rejected by 4 other landlords for being young and unreliable. So I signed the lease, shrugged it off, and moved in the next day. The apartment was small, a bit rundown, but it had a strange charm. It had those old cast iron radiators and a clawfoot tub. The kitchen tiles were cracked, and the whole place smelled faintly of cinnamon and rust. The first night, nothing happened. I unpacked, ordered Thai food, and watched TV until I passed out on the couch. But on the second night, around 3 a.m., I heard it. Scratching. Soft at first, then sharper, like something was trying to claw its way through the wall. I sat up in bed, heart pounding, and listened. The sound was coming from the air vent near the floor, right beside my nightstand. Then came the voice. "I'm hungry." I froze. It was barely a whisper. Childlike. Almost gentle. But there was something wrong with it, like the voice was pretending to sound human. I stared at the vent for a long time, then forced myself back under the covers. Sleep didn't come easy. The next day, I asked my neighbor, an older woman in 2C, if she'd ever heard anything weird. She didn't even blink. "Just don't feed it," she said. "And don't talk to it. Don't answer it." I tried to joke, but her face stayed stone cold. "Last tenant fed it," she added. "That's why the place was empty for 7 months." That night, I locked my bedroom door, not sure why, and kept the lights on. At exactly 3 a.m., the scratching started again. "I'm still hungry." The voice was louder now. Closer. It sounded like it was right behind the vent cover. I pulled my blanket up to my chin and stared at the ceiling, trying to ignore it. Then something changed. I heard breathing. Heavy. Wet. As if something was pressing its mouth right up to the metal grates. "Please, just a little food. Anything." I snapped. I grabbed an old granola bar from my backpack and slid it into the vent. Silence. No thank you. No sound of chewing. Just complete, oppressive silence. I barely slept. The next night, nothing happened at 3 o'clock. No scratching. No voice. No breathing. I felt relieved. Until I saw the fridge. All the food was gone. Every single thing. Even the sealed jars and cans had been opened. There were strange prints on the counter, long, finger-like smudges that dragged toward the vent. I locked every cabinet. I duct-taped the fridge shut. I even pushed a chair in front of the vent. Didn't matter. The thing got in. Over the next few days, the apartment changed. It smelled rotten, like meat left out too long. The light bulbs flickered constantly. My cat, who I'd had since college, wouldn't come out from under the bed. And worst of all, I started seeing things. At first, just in the corner of my eye. A flicker of movement. A shadow too tall. Then I saw it, standing by the vent at 3 a.m. watching me. It was wrong. Its limbs were too long, its body too thin, like it had been stretched. Its face was pale and empty, except for a mouth that split across its entire jaw, teeth black and too many. It smiled when it saw me. More. I moved out the next day, packed a bag and ran. Didn't even break the lease. I don't care about the deposit. I don't care that I left everything behind, because last night in my new place, I heard something scratching at the vent. I'm still hungry, and this time it knew my name.